everybody to the We Hate Anime podcast. The only anime podcast that is completely alone. That's right. Unfortunately, this week, all you have is me. Due to some scheduling changes and some issues just in general, we weren't able to make it together, nor was I able to get a guest on. It's really unfortunate. Especially since Frog basically he got a new job, which is good for him, and he had taken a week off between jobs. He could have recorded it, just didn't fall into line between Moth's schedule intensive medical job during a fucking global pandemic, although national at this point. Let's be honest, and my work schedule being absolutely insane, we just weren't able to, actually get together. Even right now, I'm recording this 2 days before it actually is going up, and I just got off work an hour ago. It's incredibly last minute. The only other option would have been to give you guys a Fist of Film reel, which, I don't want to use that like a crutch. I love the Fist of Film podcast. I hope you all listen to it. But it's not something that I want to just throw up there whenever we can't make it for whatever reason. Because then it feels like I'm using our other podcast, or not our other podcast, but Nicole's podcasts as filler material. You know what I mean? Listen to the Fist of Film podcast, by the way. So yeah, this is just going to be a really, really short episode. And I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to talk, and I hope you enjoy it. I was originally going to do stuff like this way back when. If you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can actually go back and find some videos from 2017 where I just completely unscripted talk about anime. I did 2 of them. I did one for Cowboy Bebop and one for Devilman Crybaby. And I actually think those those videos are surprisingly not that bad. Really minimal editing style in those videos, though, which this is just going to be mostly minimal as well. But yeah, it's really interesting. If this is something that you guys don't hate, feel free to let me know, and maybe I'll do something like this in the future. I had planned to do some unscripted content before in the past, more so than just those 2 videos that I made. I just never got around to it. It's really hard to motivate myself to make something if I feel like no one likes it. Which is part of the reason it took me so long to actually do anything. This podcast is pretty much the first thing I'm happy with, because people like it, I think. Some people like it. It's my little baby. Which, by the way, if you do like the podcast, let me know. Let us know. Join the Discord. Frog and I aren't that active in it, for personal reasons. But you should still join it, and if a community grows there, we will become more active there. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment. Actually engage with us. I do check comments about once a week, just because I don't upload this to my personal account. And if you listen to us on a service like iTunes or not Apple Podcasts, but Android Podcasts or whatever Google Music or whatever they call it. I don't know. Fuck it. If you listen to us somewhere, leave a review. It really does help us out, whether you realize it or not. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Every subscriber we get is a little bit closer to reaching 1,000. And once we reach 1,000, I can monetize it, which will help quite a bit, actually. Also, I've had at least one person ask us to create a Patreon, which I haven't wanted to do, not until I reach 1,000 subscribers, because getting paid for this stuff is something I feel like we need to earn. It's not something that we should just do, which I realize is really stupid. Like, God, I should be milking you guys like little pay piggies. And you should oink for me, and I'll give you my bad opinions on anime, and you can give me all your hard-earned money. It'd be great. Unfortunately, I'm not like that. I'm not a horrible human being, no matter how much I tell myself I am. But yeah, it's just a chill little tiny episode, just you, me, uh, with chatting about a video game that I recently beat. It's called Omori. If you've never heard of Omori, it's really difficult to talk about because it's not going to be everyone's thing. Omori is like hard. It's really personal. You get the feel like when I say hard, I don't mean like it's difficult. The beginning can be a little difficult, but like by mid game, you have way too much money than you know what to do with, and you have just free healing items. When I say it's difficult, I mean it's incredibly personal. It's one of those games that if you are like a well-rounded individual, and you don't have the ability to really engage with media and put yourself into it, you're not gonna get that much out of it. It's an RPG Maker game, which you might be rolling your head just hearing, but bear with me, it's not bad. It's actually very good. The combat is unlike any other RPG Maker game. It's got horror elements, which surprise an RPG Maker game with horror elements. But it's not like a lot of other RPG Maker horror games where it's just a random jump scare and then you're dead. Instead, it's more atmospheric than that. Like the scares in Omori are genuinely haunting. It's essentially a story about learning to forgive yourself, and it does so in such a real feeling way. Like I played this game for my playthrough was about 24 hours just because I was fucking around a lot. You could easily beat this game in 20 or under. And that's pretty long for an RPG Maker game, and it's only $20. Like, you should really play this game. If you have $20 and you don't hate turn-based combat, you should definitely play this game. But it's basically just about this kid who has been holed up inside their house for 4 years after a tragic event that took place in their life. And it's while holed up inside their house, they basically have created like a world inside their own dreams where they can spend time with their friends from before this tragic event occurred. And the game takes place 4 days before the main character, who you get to name. There's a canon name. The canon name's Sunny, but canon names are cringe. I named him Mike because I was like, I'm gonna name myself Mike. The story gets way too real for me to have picked my own name, which made it hit a little bit more. If you like that kind of stuff, definitely name the main character after yourself. It will make it a lot more real towards the end. Like when you're inside the dream world. The main character's called Omori. And there are moments where you'll be inside the dream world and a character will address you, the person who is not Omori, and it's like, oh, that was a little real. It gets really, really fucked up. Like, it feels so incredibly real. Like, I feel like the artist behind this, I think they're called Omocat. I feel like they have went through some real fucking shit. And I really identified with it. And it's just so powerful. Like, I finished it last night, and I had been grappling with the implications of the story all day. Like it I wouldn't say it ruined my night or my day even, but I'd say like the what it has to say about like forgiveness and depression. It's so incredibly thought provoking, and it really asks you, can you forgive yourself for an awful thing? Like, if you do something awful, truly, truly awful, would you be able to forgive yourself? And the game itself has an answer. Like, because Sonny is a character. Even if you name it after yourself, or however you name it, Sonny is a character. And rather than like telling you, like you, the person playing this game, that you should forgive yourself, it's more so, it feels more like personal. Like, Sonny has to learn how to forgive himself to get past it, but it definitely, like, it leaves you with the impression of like, can you forgive yourself? And isn't it important that you do? You can't move on in your own life unless you learn to move on. And like the event, I'm not gonna fucking talk about spoilers, dude. But the event that happens, it's so much more than what you think it is. You'll play the game and you'll think you know what it is, and then you'll get to the last minute and it is not what you think it is, and it's super fucking cool. Man, this game, it is genuinely amazing. I highly recommend anyone listening to this. If you have $20, you should just go buy it on Steam. Apparently a Switch version's coming eventually. This would be a perfect Switch game, because you can just pick it up and put it down, and it has a 3:4 aspect ratio, which is weird, but I don't hate it. You know, it's like honestly, it feels like a really great Game Boy RPG. But with writing better than any Game Boy RPG. And I mean Game Boy Color, obviously. Or Game Boy Advanced, I should say. Oh, man. If you're a fan of turn-based RPGs, you owe it to yourself to give it a shot. Especially if you like things like Yume Nikki, or, I hate comparing it to it, but if you really like Undertale, and like the more meta aspects of it, I feel like you can get a lot out of this game. I don't like comparing it to Undertale. It has a very cutesy aesthetic, similar to how like Undertale is like more cutesy and kitty and goofy. But like the cutesiness in Omori hides, like it intentionally hides the darker aspects of the story. Like it's essentially a game about diving into your own like self-conscious, because you're going through your own dreams. Like there's dream logics. Like inside your own dreams, nothing fucking makes sense. Like there are optional boss fights against fucking Pluto, the fucking planet Pluto. It's weird, but it's cool. It's fun. I really think this game, I don't think it's being overlooked. I think it has a lot of it. Due in part to like people like fucking Game Freak and the weird subculture that's rising up around it. But I try not to judge things based off of stuff like that, you know? So I gave it a shot. It was Nitro Rad's video. If you've ever seen Nitro Rad, Nitro Rad did a really cool video on it. And he makes some really weird mistakes. There's a character in the game named Mari, Mari, and he calls her Mary for some reason. Like, that's not how you. She's very clearly like Asian coded. Like, it's Mari, and there's some other little things in there like I can't talk about it in his video, where I was like, you are not correct, sir. But that video, watch until the point where he says, "I'm about to get into spoilers. Don't continue watching if you don't want to be spoiled," which I think is like 10 minutes into the video, give or take. That's up to where I watched. Everything after that is like giant spoil town. But everything up to there is only like the first 5 or so hours, which is not that much. If you are interested in the game from just that, like, 'cause that's literally, I watched that much of his video and was like, okay, I'm gonna stop playing, and then I bought it and I started playing it. And if you're interested in it just from that little bit, I would highly recommend jumping in, because it's a ride. Like, I did nothing but play it for a solid 2 days, 3 days, and there's a second route you can do, called the Hikikomori route, where you just like, instead of like going and talking with your friends in the real world, because there's the dream world and the real world, you just stay home, and that route is the ending ends up being very similar, but it's a completely different ride after a certain point, and in a few months I'll probably go through that just because I enjoyed the game that much. But yeah, that's Omori. Play it or don't. If you want to be lame or cringe, don't play it at all. Or if you don't like turn-based games, you're wrong. That's a call-out post for Frog. I guess now I'll just go into Interstella 555. Guys, did you hear the news? Daft Punk is gone. It fucking sucks, dude. Like, I absolutely, like, I'm not a big Daft Punk fan. I wouldn't call myself like, whatever a Daft Punk fan would call themselves. I enjoy I'm listening to them right now as I'm recording this, just to get myself in that feel. And I do really, really like Daft Punk. But they aren't, like, super important to me like they are for other people. That's part of the reason why I really enjoy. Having him here, I feel like he'd have a lot more to say. Especially about Daft Punk, but also about Interstella 555. This is such it's such an interesting, weird little piece of animation. If you've never seen Interstella 5555, it's basically massive throwback to anime from the 70s and 80s, while also being the best music video for anyone's like music, because it's literally an entire Daft Punk album animated over. It leads to some really cool imagery, some like really great moments where, and it doesn't happen that often, where them playing the music syncs up with the video, or with the animation in a way. Like someone will, I'm trying to think of a good example. I can't off the top of my head because I watched this a week and a half ago. But it's just really cool. Like I can't think of anything like this, really. Like, you can find examples of, like, obviously animated music videos, but I don't know that many musicians that have taken their music and, like, you could find examples of like, musicals that use licensed music as part of their story, but they would have story to it. In Interstellar 5555, it's nothing but visuals, a few sound effects, and the music. Like, even during the parts of the show that don't have, like, characters interacting, they'll just be playing instrumental Daft Punk songs, and it's so cool. Like, it's insanely nuts and fucking awesome. It's just, it's really hard to talk about. Not because there's anything, not because, like, there's spoilers. Because you don't watch this for the story. The story is bone, like it is almost no meat. Like it's essentially like, if I were to tell you the story, it's basically like an allegory for what the record industry does to new talent, where it will take interesting musicians, uh, suit them up to fit their their wants, to and hate to be a Michael meme, but it's literally I've been trying to dance around it in this description, but like literally it's about how like the music industry through like capitalism exploits genuine talent, and leaves them drained, and then disposes of them whenever they've run out their usefulness. And the talent in question happens to be aliens that are kidnapped, whitewashed as part of the story, and are forced to play music against their will. And that's basically it. Like there's not much more to it than that. Like it's not like one of those things where, oh Mike, you're reading into it too much. It's literally like the main antagonist dude. The main antagonist dude is literally a cigar chomping like 90s villain. Like this is based off of like 70s and 80s anime, right? Like there's no like deep layer to, like, there's no, when I say there's no deep layer, I don't mean there's not like symbolism, obviously, but there's no like obfuscation. Like if I say this anime is very clearly a music industry bad thing, and I make the only further implication I make there involves capitalism, but like literally the only reason the music industry is bad is because of capitalist profit motive. But this isn't like this isn't the anime podcast featuring Karl Marx or whatever. This is Weehan anime. But yeah, it's just really interesting to like I think it'd be kind of fair to say like Daft Punk have been popular for a long time, but they've never been huge, right? It's really interesting that Daft Punk are the people that went to Toei, and I was gonna do some research into this, but Moth said that Moth would do research for the episode, which I was surprised, because I wanted to talk about more about like the motivations behind this, but I believe because Moth's not here, I can't really refer to whatever he did or didn't look up. But the Daft Punk and Toei teamed up to make this, and it's so strange to see like one of the biggest musical artists in the world, and the biggest anime production studio in the world teaming up to make an anti not an anti-capitalist. This is I'm not going to go so far as to say it's anti-capitalist. It's just anti the music industry thing. Like I feel like having two different stars have like come together and be like, yeah, the music industry fucking sucks. And there's just something that feels weird to me about that. Not for any good reason. It just feels that way. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just trying to talk to fill time, because I'm doing this by myself, and this fucking sucks. This doesn't suck. I think I've had a good conversation here with myself. Yeah, Interstella 505. It's also got this really weird aspect ratio. And I say weird. I don't think it's weird. But like you look up reviews for Interstella 5555, and you just see people like any negative review will always bring up the fact that it has a 4:3 aspect ratio. And this was made in like the middle 2000s, and people go like, why isn't it fucking widescreen, bro? Like, come on. It's like, dude, what is artistic choice? What is like it's so clearly cribbing from that like old 70s, 80s, and even 60s style animation. Like, why else would Daft Punk team up with Toei, who, outside of the occasional series, uh, just makes shitty middle-of-the-road animation. Which is why they're so big. They just pump out so much of it. And granted, they don't have, like, no good examples. Like, I know people will come at me and say, well, this one episode of One Piece, looked okay. And I'd say, wow, it's one episode in 1,000. Fuck you. But, yeah, it's just throwback to, like, that style of animation where, like, you watch it, and it even, like, when you watch it, like, I downloaded the Blu-ray version of it, and you watch it, and it's glossy, it looks low quality, like, this would look amazing on a CRT. Like, it just would. And people would look at that stylistic choice and say, yeah, that means it's objectively bad. And I want to objectively punt them into space. Like, these people that think, like, artistic choice is a bad thing, go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. Like, fuck you. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't critique an artist for choosing to do something. But like if you were to say, well, 4.3 aspect ratios are bad because reason, like, I can't even think, like, that's one of those things where I'm like, I can't imagine someone, like, caring that much about it to criticize it. Like, it's hard for me to, like, you could criticize this for having, like, iffy animation. I think that'd be justifiable. Because, like, I mean, even those old anime, like had decent moments of animation. Like, none of, like, this doesn't really have, Interstella 5555 doesn't have the charm of old anime. It's just trying to, appeal to that era of anime. Where, like, it will it'll look bad on purpose, but it looks good. If we were talking about, like classic Gundam or something, and someone was like, wow, I hate the fact that you can tell there's a cell error there where someone's hair got caught on a cell and they didn't fucking bother to replace it, and that's a piece of fucking animation they reuse 1,000 times because this was created on a shoestring budget. Like, yeah, you can like criticize stuff for like stuff like that, but when like a piece of art makes a deliberate choice, like, why would you, like, it'd be one thing to say, hey, I think it would be cool if this was created in this other way, but I acknowledge that it's trying to do something, and I think that's cool as well. Like, that's the closest to a criticism you can get of the aspect ratio. And I know I'm harping on this one little thing, but, like, I saw, like, 2 reviews. Like, I googled Interstella 5555. I don't even remember why. And, like, 2 reviews were just calling out the aspect ratio, and it's like, dude, it's not like this thing was, like, a widescreen thing and then got pan and scanned. No. It was made like this. Like, you can watch it, and it is deliberately framed in a 4:3. Like, there's no moment where you're missing detail because of the aspect ratio. And that's the important thing. Like, that's why, like, 4:3 aspect ratios for movies is, like, a shitty thing, because usually movies are shot in widescreen. But this wasn't. It was shot like, it was created this way on purpose because it's supposed to, like, make you feel like you're watching something at 4 a.m. on, like, the Sci-Fi Channel that you just happen to see on TV. Like, that's the feeling it's trying to elicit. And, like, to say that, like, it deliberately make an artistic choice is, like, a negative against it, like, I fucking hate that shit. And I know, like, you could make the argument that, like, well, like, isn't, like, for example, if voice actor's bad, right? Isn't that an artistic choice? Can I somehow not criticize a bad voice actor? And to that I'd say, no, you can criticize everything. Like, there's no such thing as invalid criticism. But if your criticism, like, when you criticize something, you have to meet it where it's at. Like, I can't criticize sports games, because I don't like sports games. Like, if I said, and if Madden 2020 whatever the fuck is a bad game because I don't like sports games, I'm being reductive. I'm being stupid. But if I were to say, they're if I were to play them and I'd say, well, this is what I don't like about them. These are the aspects I don't, and it just so happens that they're football games. So, and I don't care that much about football. But here's the aspect of the game design I don't like. Well, that's a valid criticism, and I'm acknowledging the fact that this is not something that's typically for me. And I really approach criticism in this way. It's just poor, really. I just really wish people could meet media where it's at. Like, I can tell what Interstella 5555 is trying to do, and I don't think it's difficult to meet it where it's at. You know? I could criticize it, and I could very easily. Like, occasionally there'll be like a word, like they'll use like they'll have like performances in the anime where they're playing the music, but the music, like, they're playing the music, but like what they're strumming and stuff doesn't match up with the song at all. It's just it's almost stock animation. And I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I know it doesn't look good. Like I'm not saying it has to be. Like, it has to look amazing. Like it has to like have this super photorealistic strumming animations or anything. But I think not having that means that when you show those performances and like you spend a lot of time like showing the characters on stage, and they're just like zooming around. And the only time I feel like it ever matches up is like when the drummer's doing the drummer thing, which, by the way, peak character design in that drummer. Like, seriously, he looks so fucking dumb and goofy. But yeah, I think that's really all I want to say about Interstella 5555. If you want to criticize media, like, do so, but you have to meet it where it's at. Like, you can't criticize a hamburger because it's not a slice of pizza. In the same way that you can't look at like an artistic choice, like an aspect ratio, and deign that artistic choice is bad in and of itself. Wow. I'm surprised I was able to do this. Like, yeah, we're only at 30 minutes. And when I edit it down, it's going to be about 30 minutes. But I'm actually surprised. Like, I'm fucking exhausted. I just worked a full shift. Like, our shop's back open now. Which I'm very grateful for. I could lose my job at any moment, though. That's fun. That's a fun thing. Don't worry about me. Or do worry about me. I don't fucking control you. But yeah. This has been an episode of We Hate Anime. Kind of. Mike hates anime. There you go. If you like a solo thing like this, let us know, because I could very easily do like a short thing every other week where we do the main episode and then have one of us do like a rambly type deal like this. It wouldn't be impossible. Yeah, thanks for joining me. You can get our links in the description. If you are on YouTube, please subscribe. If you are on an audio thing, please leave a rating, comment, like us, share us, follow us on Twitter. I have been losing so many followers lately. I don't know why. I've not been particularly cringe, not more than usual. And with that said, this has been Mike from We Hate Anime. Next episode, we are going to be talking about Katanagatari, episode 3, which is a really cool episode, and I look forward to it. I really fucking want everyone to be together for that one. Just because, it's the episode with the MILF. And I know, Moth, will be horny. But he won't call it horny. He'll call it look, a MILF. I'm fucking tired. I'm gonna fucking stop recording now and go to fucking bed. Y'all take it easy. I'm sorry that this is so short, and God, I'm so sorry, y'all. I really fucking am. The next episode is gonna be a real episode, I promise. Even if I have to break out Tituitu again, which I'm more than willing to, because that episode's pretty fucking cool, pretty poggers, if I do say so myself. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. I'm gonna take a drink of my tea as soon as I hit the stop button, baby.
Yeah.